G'day traders, welcome to a wrap up of Monday the 4th of June. So on the daily charts we're looking at this particular candle here. So what we had is a day where it went, we had trends going both ways. So just to set this particular day up on Friday, so the previous day trading before the weekend, we had this one directional day. It's quite a red candle, but even in the cash market it was just one direction all on the downside. Something like that, it can be fairly predictable. What happened is, as we were approaching the open of the cash market, we'd already broken down into this area below this little bit of a swing low here. So there's a real changing in the markets or a breaking of a certain area. So those type of days, they're likely just to go with that direction. So this example, they're broken down and away they go. Move forward to Monday, which is this candle here. What's likely to happen is get, certainly not get a real continuation like that and get one directional day again. They've broken that significant area. The sellers could continue, but we're more likely to get a day where you get both sort of sides coming to the market. So what I expected is buyers and sellers, but to remember that the sellers are really in control because that's where we are on the daily chart. As usual, what we're going to do is go through this 5-minute chart. So just talk about the general relationship between the buyers and sellers. Also go through a few 5-minute setups and then flip over to the 1-minute chart and point out some of the significant swing low, swing high areas for the power fade trades, and also look at the power point trades. So again, keeping in line with these three systems. So as you see here, we've started a new month. So May's finished, that information's been completed. Now we've got data for June, so we've had 2 trading days in this particular month so far. So we just had the 1 5-minute trade, which is 1 from 1 PowerPoint system. So after we've seen it do so well, I think it was about 7 from 9 last week. At this stage now it's 1 from 6. So today was a day. I'll chat about what happened. A day where there was 4 losses for that in a row, and the power fade system yet to get a setup. What you'll notice with the 5-minute system as well, there's a few trades that come up. As with the PowerPoint trade and a few things, there's a few ones that come up, but they aren't necessarily meeting all the rules. So of course this is just recording every single trade based on a particular system. So whether you take that system, add a few more rules, trade it yourself, just use the idea to create your own systems. This information is designed not to be taken as black and white, but more to be taken as something you can use as a tool and then go on and create something for yourself. So 5-minute charts here, remembering we had a seller's day on the day before, being the Friday. In the pre-market we basically were bouncing up. So what happened here, there was a bit of pressure on the downside, and it looked quite early like, as you can see, we broke a bit of a low here and we broke a bit of a low here. So the market certainly headed on its way to the downside. From there we popped up and we started to get into a bit of this range. Where this area is popping up is a real 50-50 area. You can see basically the predictive, also the moving average is coming down as we get in this entry. It's right at that crossing over of the 2 moving averages line, so it's right between signals. So that particular one is actually a void signal. We continue to get this bit of a sideways pattern. Then we've got this 5-minute sell here, so this is a little bit more what we're looking for. So we've moved on a little bit. Now the moving average, it's still clearly pointing down. We've had the predictive average cross up, cross down, so it's kind of absorbed some of that pressure, now looking to push down and head back towards its lows, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So this is 5-minute trade, worked quite well. Popped back a little bit here and then went lower, and you can see it's come back to the lows of the day and broken through quite easily there. So I think it was a predictable area to come down around these lows. As far as it breaking the lows and going down as far as it did, that wasn't so much as predictable. From there we've pushed a little bit lower, we've bounced up here, and we're basically having this second pullback of the same trend now. So just watching other markets, what you want to do is get an idea as to whether you believe that this trend is getting extended and it's starting to create some holding patterns, or maybe it's likely to push down and basically get a continuation from this second pullback area. So as we're coming down here, it looked likely that we're going to get a bit more of a push down. All the other markets did pop their head through this area and start to break a little bit, so that certainly still created a little bit of pressure on the downside, but from there it kind of swung around quite quickly and we pushed up here. What we would have noticed with this push up here, it wasn't so strong on the other markets, especially the Russell. The Russell didn't really break up through this area for quite a while, and that's because the markets did hold onto a bit of seller pressure down here. You can see how they all, like I spoke about before, did temporarily pop down, and if all the markets had held a bit higher and basically created a higher low here and then a high up here, that's a real buying formation, and you would see everything rush up. But just because the fact we went lower here and then broke here, just meant that it took a little bit more time for the markets to get on the upside. Eventually did get there, but the Russell certainly tried to hold them back. But I mean, in hindsight, this is an area that once you do see it pushing up like this, regardless of what happened down here, it's breaking. That's some sort of buying pressure coming in and pops back, and then at some stage around here, it's likely to break through that area again. But as far as a power fade area, that's an ideal sort of power fade area, especially if it didn't go lower here. But we'll talk about that soon. Just didn't quite get the entry. From there, we're pushing higher. So I mean, you just got to keep in your mind, where are these markets heading to? Once we start breaking like this, there's pressure on the upside. Where is it likely to go to? I'd say the top of this range here is the next stop for it. Once we got that way, it's certainly not going to come back, or the chances are, the percentages are, it's going to keep on going and go to the next swing high area, which is up around here. It broke up past that a little bit, then we've had the market start to come back again. So this is an area where it did come back, where it could potentially hold, I guess, and go back to the highs. That's certainly not out of the question. What you want to do is watch the other markets and get a good idea. So one of the automatic PowerPoint trades did come up here to hold and get push higher. But in the end, the ranges, I guess within the day, worked too strong. And this is basically the start of a third trend, or you could almost look at it just like a pretty big pullback as far as the second trend. And then we basically got to the 330 mark, and it started to get a bit choppy. You can see from here on in, quite choppy. Start of the day is always choppy, end of the day is choppy, and in between you get those little bit more trending markets. As for the 1 minute chart, let me take you through the PowerPoint and the potential power fade setup. So with the PowerPoints, looking for 3 on the same side or more, so that's to kind of consolidate a direction, and then look for it to bounce back and then take the continuation. So we do take setups that include pre-market setups. So you can see basically we've hit 1, 2, 3, 4 upper side, 5, 6. So 6 on the same side, looking for it to come back, bounce off this area and get a continuation. So as far as an automatic trade goes, this was one to look on the buy side. But it's certainly one that had a little bit of pressure, and it had been pushing up for a while, and start of a cash market like this, from a discretional point of view, it had a pretty good chance of pushing through this type of area here. But from an automatic perspective, it's one that needed to be taken. From there, this is where this downtrend started to become quite evident that the sellers were around. We hit 1, 2, 3 on the downside, so here's another automatic point trade. So looking for this one to hold and push lower. So this one definitely had its opportunities. If the sellers were looking to continue, and you can see it has popped up, but eventually the sell trend has continued. But before the sellers continued, it has significantly broken up through the area. So again, that particular PowerPoint trade and failed. So like I said before, this particular PowerPoint system today, after having a good week last week, had 4 losses in a row. So always looking to make systems better, and something like this comes into my head that when you see a PowerPoint system, like for example, I know roughly that 60% of these trades work, just as it is. After last week, we saw it strike at about 80%. Okay, we saw about 7 out of 9 work, so it's working better than usual. It's definitely due for a loser, and so you might choose to maybe leave a particular day like this when you've had a good winning streak, and then wait for it to have some losers, and then get back on board. So the fact is, it's had 4 losers within the PowerPoint system today. Tuesday is an opportunity to again get back on and go, okay, it's due for a winner now. So today, due for losers, got that. Now we had the losers, due for winners. Hopefully that makes sense. Another failed PowerPoint there. I've marked a bit of a swing low here. So with the power fade trades, looking to mark significant low higher. So here we've made a low, pivoted away from it. So if it comes back, tests it, looking at it as a potential break area. Same with this one here, looking for a break area. I do want to point out, actually, I have marked the lows and highs, but the actual lows and highs of the cash market, there are a lot more areas that likely to get a bit of a bounce, and certainly a lower percentage area. So to keep the strike rate a little bit higher, I'm only looking for these power fade setups mid-range and not at the lows to the highs. So I still will mark the low, swing high at the lows and highs. That's a mouthful, but not looking to trade them with a 1 minute power fade. So market came back up here. We pulled away. Okay, so this was an interesting area. You can see I've marked a swing higher here. So we've come back at it. So when we came back at it here, the other markets weren't pushing as high. They were kind of all hanging back, and we didn't have that mark as a support. So not looking to power fade there. You can see that didn't work. It's come back. That area still stands. You can see we haven't broken yet. This time we came back, we broke through it. Other markers were right there, ready to go. So now we've kind of got this consolidation, or this confirmation that that the area is potential to push higher. So again, we're not looking to fade right there and then. We want to confirm it, then for it to pull back, so around here, and then go on the upside. So once it came back like this, put on the order for the power fade on the upside, and if we get that pressure back up, it's likely to continue back to the highs. But obviously in this case, no harm done. When it's come back, it decided to keep going down. So it just wasn't the right area, but you can see it became a valid area as soon as we started breaking through like that. From there, we've pushed lower. You can see another swing low marked here, but it's the low of the day. We've marked it. We've popped up here and come back. So I've marked this as a swing high. I also want to point out that we had 1, 2, 3, 4 power points on the same side, so we're confirming a downtrend. And as the automatic power point trade goes, look to take this bounce and get a continuation of the sell. So again, that was the third one for the day that failed, as far as the power point's concerned. Back to the power fade, marked a swing high. We've come down. We've pushed up through the area. So it's kind of confirmed that the area is pushing through. But what happens? The rules are with this particular trade that we don't want to push more than 3-4 ticks past the area. So what we just want to pop up, then come back. If it starts pushing too much through, it's kind of like the area has been missed. So even though technically, as a discretional trader, this is still one that you could potentially take. But just want to show you that the actual setup is, here's the significant swing higher. We've come back, tested it. There's some pressure pushing through on the upside. So we've confirmed that the buyers are looking to go. We want it to come back and then take the next power fade. So this actual power fade here would have been entered back here. So you can see it actually would have been stopped out and then went. Or another way you could look at approaching it is what we call a power fade, a hit fade entry, where it goes through the price, and as soon as it goes through the price, then put on the order. So you would have been entered back through here, and that would have saved you. So the hit fade is a more conservative option. So with conservative means, you'll miss some trades, but there's also some trades you'll get that you might have been stopped out on the more aggressive approach. But overall, still this area, you can see that basically we're pushing through, coming back and going at it again. It's got a very high potential of eventually going through, which is what happened. And that's that area explained before. Just here on the 5-minute chart. Back on the left hand chart here, remember we popped up here, come back, and it's very likely to go higher. Okay, so from there we've pushed up higher, 1, 2, 3, 4 power points on the same side. So consolidating an upwards trend there, and sorry, I should say confirming an upwards trend. Then look for it to come back here and get a continuation of the uptrend. Just today was the sort of day where, after extended trends like this, it just didn't want to get a continuation. It basically kept on pushing through and then starting new trends. So this was the 4th power point that didn't work for the day. Marked a swing high there, even though it's the high of the day. Actually, might not. No, it wasn't quite the high of the day. But marked that. We never came back and tested anyway. From here, we popped down lower. So we come away. If we come and tested this area again, it's potentially something we could look at by the time we came and tested. But it was well and truly the end of the day, so nothing there. So that's the 1-minute charts. So that's a wrap up for Monday. I've got the information here as far as the data for June so far. We'll keep on doing this throughout June. I'll speak to you guys Tuesday.